Hey guys, welcome back to Pommyinoz, and we are now at the end of the season. We've just had the wonderful first week of finals, probably the best week of finals that I can remember since being here. Really exciting, and as a neutral, that's all you can ask for really. It breaks your heart when we're not there. If you are new around here, please drop a like, please drop a subscribe. We're encroaching 500, that is absolutely awesome. The aim was probably never that, so it's amazing that 500 of you have nearly followed me. That is excellent. And let's get into my end of season, like kind of little who's going to win your Brownlow for your club, be the leading vote getters. It's something that I do every year, and I have a lot of fun with it because Brownlow for me is like the most magical time of the year. It's something that I really get excited about just because we don't really have anything like this in the EPL really. We don't have anything of this like kind of caliber. We don't have this like weird voting system and things like that. So it's always been exciting for a young Pom, I've got to say, to just see this. And the first team we're going to start with is Adelaide. Now, Adelaide's kind of a tough one because I don't really see many players polling in the first couple of rounds. I think maybe Dodie might appear in round like 7. I think he might get Crouch in the first couple of rounds, Matty. But after that, they were kind of heavily dominated. And when you look at the way the Brownlow works, obviously midfielders, ball getters get a lot of the ball. It usually comes with a sub-clause if you've got to win. So it was a tough one to pick this one, but I think back-end form, I think like literally for me, from round 11 onwards, I've got Laird polling 10 votes, and I think that will win the Adelaide's leading vote getter, Rory Laird. And Rory Laird's had, just a standard season by Laird's account, ranks top 10 for handballs. We know he loves handballs, uncontested possessions again. He's one of them players, that just literally for me, he's the modern day small defender, isn't he? Who can float into the midfield. He's had a solid season. I think if you ever play fantasy football, he's that kind of one of your first names on the team sheet. He is for me. He is in my dynasty side, and it was just a steady year for him. And I think if you're Adelaide, if you can keep hold of him, he's only 27 next year. I think for me, he's something that's excitement. He really does change the game, especially when nowadays everything is all transitional based, working off the halfback. But I'd imagine Laird with 10 votes will take out their vote. I think Matt Crouch will be second, and I think you'll take your pick. I think Lachlan Scholl polled 3 votes versus us. Brad Crouch will have got 3 around there. But for me, Rory Laird is going to be my pick for that. Then we've got Brisbane. Now, I think this is a no-brainer because I think this guy will win it. I've got Lachie Neale on 30 Brownlow votes. And especially his start of the year was phenomenal. And he kind of tailed off towards the back of the year. But his first 5 rounds were just stellar. And I think he'll poll 3 votes in 4 out of 5 of them minimum. And you can see why, particularly if you look at his end of the year stats. Top 5 for inside 50s. He was the highest fantasy and super coach player, which isn't really a huge thing, but number 1 in effective disposals, number 2 in effective disposals per game, stoppage clearances, time on the ground, all top 10s. That is where the umpires check, and that's where the umpires see it. This guy does all his work in that centre clearance, and when you're amassing, 27.1 touches in short and quarters, you're going to stand out. He also added a few goals to his game this year as well, which I think will see him sneak votes in games where maybe he wasn't as dominant. But for me, this guy is just an absolute beast of a midfielder. And like when you look at it, that Brisbane took the punt on him from Fremantle. For what they paid for him, it's become bargain basement type stuff, hasn't it? What a phenomenal footballer. I think he will win the Brownlow as well, incidentally, 30. I know people are saying that, there's his back end of form. But yeah, I think Lachie Neale, lock it in, 30, there we are. And then my beloved Carlton. Now this one's a tough one because I've got Sam Walsh and Patrick Cripps almost similar. But I do think Cripper's mid-year, particularly his ability to pick up votes traditionally in losses and games where he probably doesn't stand out. There's a couple last year where he polled really well and I was at them games and I was like, was he really that good? Richmond being one last year as well, where I thought, for me, when he was on Jack Graham for a part of it, and Jack Graham obviously had them 4 goals and really dominated, I was surprised to see him poll so high in that one as well. But I do think Cripper, just because of his reputation, and the Brownlow is kind of that thing, habits, umpires have habitual habits. I think Cripper will win our vote count with 10 from Walsh 9. Now, I'm not staking this with any degree of confidence because I think there's some votes where I could chop and change. I think round 16, I think Sam Walsh will get 3 votes. But I also think then round 7, round 3, Cripper will get 3 votes. Sam Walsh probably didn't really come into it till round 8 for Carlton. It's going to be a real tough one. And I'd like Sam Walsh to win it. I'd like Sam Walsh to trump Cripper in this one. But I think this is a good sign for Carlton that Cripper hasn't been his notorious dominance, they say. But he ranks number 2 in the competition for total clearances. Ranks 3 clearances per game. Top 7 for contested possessions per game. Top 20 for stoppage clearances. For me, this guy, even though he had an off year, was still dominant. I mean, he's still doing all the tough stuff, top 20 for tackles. That is ridiculous for someone that evidently has had shoulder issues all year, according to reports now. So, I mean, Cripper, I think, takes that as with 10. I'm willing to negotiate on that one. And then we've got the Magpies. Now, this one's been a weird one because I don't think anyone at the Magpies has really stood out. It's kind of across the board, and I've got their spread, everyone kind of even. But I do think Taylor Adams will take it out, and I do think Taylor Adams is the worthy winner of leading the vote count for Collingwood. If I was going to plunk 3 votes on anyone, I think Taylor Adams has been, for me, their best player consistently throughout the year. Top 2 for tackles, in the top 5 for total centre clearances. He's top 10 for tackles. He's been really nailed down that role. And they've had a lot of midfield issues. You know, Trelaw's been in and out of the side. Then you look at the half forward. Degoe's been in and out of the side as well with injuries and off-field activities. He's really stepped up. And for me, Taylor Adams, every game I've seen, he has been really impressive and he's been really forceful and impactful. I have him clocking 8 votes. Nowhere near threatening the Brownlow votes, mind you. But I do think he's a victim of the depth that Collingwood have, and I'm going to predict he'll get 8 votes and will lead the Collingwood one. Over to the Bombers, my boy Zach Merritt. It's always hard calling any Essendon player my boy, but I'm a big fan of what Zach Merritt does, and I'll tell you for why. He suits what Pom likes to see in games. Top 10 for handballs, top 5 for inside 50s per game, top 5 for inside 50 that result in scores, top 10 for effective disposals, and I think for me, one that's kind of always negated is his top 10 for kicks per game as well. So he really does find a lot of the ball and he has a real good equal spread of kicks to handballs. For me, this guy is a player that if I was Carlton, I'd be targeting if the rumours are untrue that his eyes are turned. And I think he will pretty much take this out. Just from Andrew McGrath, I think McGrath getting injured late in the year is going to set against him. But I've got him polling 3 votes, round 2, round 8, round 11 and round 14 for Merritt. I think Merritt will take it out with a total of 15, and quite rightly so for me, very good footballer. Then we got a Fremantle. Now Fremantle one's, again, another tough one. Brayshaw's been phenomenal this year. Monday's usual consistent best. And then you had Sarong pop up, rising star, he's been very good. Chera, another one as well, that you could make an argument for being in and around the votes. But for me, I can't look past Nat 5. I've got him as 16 votes. I think he'll poll 2 votes the first 3 rounds. I think he'll get round 17, he'll get 3. For me, not his greatest year, but I think a very good year in the terms of he's redefined his role, and it's been really exciting to see. I enjoy seeing players as they get to like that 28-29 period, you know, try and redevelop the game. And we've seen this from Nat 5 a few times. He's a bit of a chameleon, you know, with the double leg break, redefined his game, and then he's redefined it now. The young core are taking that heavy load on the ball. Still good numbers, top 10 stoppage clearances, top 5 contested possessions per game, top 20 total contested possessions. He's had a really good year for a normal player, just his high standards. But I think he'll get 16. I think he'll take out that vote. And for me, worthy winner. And I think Brayshaw will definitely be banging down the door next year to take him out. Geelong now, and then we've got, this one's again a tough one because Menegola came home like a freight train, but I think, you know, Danger, he is kind of the umpire's pet in a way. He does poll votes when maybe his numbers suggest he's not. I've got him polling 3 votes round 4, round 6 and round 18 for a total of 19. I think he'll just take it out by 6 from Sam Menegola. I've got him at 13 with Cam Guthrie. 2 very good footballers and 2 footballers that I've been really impressed with throughout the year. His numbers speak for themselves. Top 5 in score involvements in the competition. Top 3 in inside 50s per game. Top 3 in inside 50s resulting in a score. Like, for me, this guy has been really good. Solid year. Him and Hawkins as well dominated them goal assists per game. 19 votes. I think we'll see Danger will take the Geelong crown. Then we've got Gold Coast. Gold Coast, like, you know, probably aren't going to poll really well in this, but it's no surprise. I think Matt Rowell will win this. I think he will poll 3 votes in round 2, round 3 and round 4. And I don't think you can really argue it. I mean, his numbers amongst the rising stars, even though he didn't play, were ridiculous. Contested possessions per game, rebound 50s, top 5, centre clearances, top 1. I mean, this guy was dominant in the 5 games he played. There's no doubt about that. When you're averaging 17.4 and over a goal a game, you are going to poll well. And it's probably a discredit for him to lead the poll, because I think Hugh Greenwood, he'll get 6. I think he'll be second. Tuck Miller will be thereabouts with 4. He'll take it out with 9. I'm pretty confident with that. And it was a great year, and I'm looking forward to seeing the boy play next year. I'm super excited, full year, seeing what he can do, because we never saw him experience a hard tag, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. GWS, real disappointing year, and I'm going to go with Lockie Whitfield here. I think he'll get 10 votes. I've got him at the moment polling 3 votes round 9 and round 14. I think he wins it by 1 from Harry Perryman, who has been really good, but he'll be someone to look out for, because there's a couple of grey areas with both of these voting. There's a couple of times where these guys have polled where the other one has, where you could maybe make a case for the other one to trump him. Particularly round 5, 1 and 2 votes, I've got them. If that flips, results flip, so Perryman might be someone to look out for. But Whitfield's game was fairly impressive. Top 10 effective disposals per game. You know, top 10, top 5 total marks, top 4 uncontested possessions, top 3 marks per game. It was a very solid year from Whitfield, and he's really redefined his role and looks like the mainstay of that side. Really the guy that you talk about over Kelly and whatnot. I think he'll take their votes out just by 1 from Perryman, who had a superb year. Hawthorn, Tommy Mitchell, it was good to see him back in full swing, and as you'd expect when you look at his numbers this year, top 3 total handballs, top 5 disposals. This is what this guy does. He's a natural accumulator. I've got him at 12 votes. Hawthorn probably aren't going to poll as well as they traditionally do because they haven't been as good, but round 9 particularly was a highlight for him. He was absolutely phenomenal in that. And for me, that whole 8 tackles, 28 disposals, and it was a real solid performance. I think he'll easily poll 3 votes versus us. It does stick out in the mind. I think he'll win it though from Chad Wingard, 12 votes. It should be a fairly foregone conclusion because Tom Mitchell is one of them players that just picks up the baton. Melbourne, I think Tracker's got it, 24. I think he'll be one of the competitors and someone that if you are looking for someone to break the bookies, Petrarca would be it. He's had a real solid year, real consistent throughout the board. Really lived up to his top billing for me. I mean, you look at some of the games like round 18, 7 marks, 1 goal, 23 touches. Then there was the round 7, 29 touches, a goal, 3 marks. I mean, he's had real good games, real standout games. And I think he'll win it from Clayton Oliver. I think he'll have 24 votes. Tracker, I think he'll poll 3 round 2, round 6, round 11, round 12, round 14 and round 18. And I think he'll take home the Melbourne leading vote getter. I don't think you can argue about that. North Melbourne for me, this one's a tough one. Few players that have been there or thereabouts. North Melbourne haven't been started the year good. In the middle were a little bit meh. And then finished a little bit okay when they started just doing heavy rotation. I've got Jed Anderson here winning this. 6 votes, and I think top 20 tackles per game as well. He had some standout games. The round 13 loss against Collingwood, 30 touches, 5 tackles, 4 marks. And then against the Eagles, round 18, 30 touches and a goal. I think these games he will poll a couple of votes in there. I think he's done enough when they've lost to really stand out and really be that brick wall. And I think with 6 votes, he'll take out the North Melbourne, which is kind of a testament to where they are as a team. I think at the moment, him winning it, but I think Jed Anderson will win it. And he's had a phenomenal year. He's really come from, not really talked about. You do look at him on that team sheet now. Travis Boak, I think, will win the Port one. And I love Boakey's game. I love everything about him. 22 votes, I've got him. I think he started the year absolutely phenomenally. Matty Rao, and he just continued that form as we went on. And I think it shows how good he prepares for the game from round 1 and round 2. I think anyone who polls in them games says a lot about that prolonged break, about what they are and what they are about as a player. And for me, you look at his numbers: top 10 inside 50s, top 10 total handballs, top 15 total effective clearances, top 15 centre clearances, top 10 score involvements. The guy was dominant around the ground, and he's a real important cog in that port machine. And I think if anyone deserves a flag, it's probably Travis. He's a consummate professional, and I enjoy what he does, and I think he'll take it out. Like I say, with 22 votes. On 21 votes, we've gone to Richmond, and it's no surprise. I think Dustin Martin loves a vote, and I think he's one of them guys that does stand out. I mean, you look at his numbers. I mean, top 15 for total bounces per game, top 2 for total inside 50s, top 10 for score involvements. And like for me, this guy just brings it. Top 15 goal assists, 20.4 this year touches, 6 goals. Some real standouts along the way as well. Round 13, I remember that really well. 30 touches, 3 marks and a goal. You had round 18, 6 marks, a goal and 28 touches. And then obviously for me, round 8, the 23 touches, 5 marks, 2 goals. He's going to pole along the way, and he always does. And he quietly goes about his business this year. People have not really talked about him as they usually do. I've got him 3 votes in round 7, 9 and 10, 13. I think he'll finish them off with a pair of 3s as well. Real good year from Dusty. Wasn't his usual dominant year by any means, but, you know, just the guy's class. And I know people don't like him, but it's probably because he is class. Over to my wife's team, St Kilda, and I've really enjoyed seeing this bloke play. And with our history of taking GWS players, I think, God, I wish you were a Blue. Jack Steele, one of my favourite players to watch. He just goes about his business and he doesn't mess about when he does it. Got him at 25 votes. I think he'll push it close. He's another one that's in that smoky category because he really does stand out at St Kilda as well. So he's got that going for him. And you look at his numbers: top 10 centre clearances, top 10 total contested possessions, top 10 score involvements, top 5 total tackles. The guy brings it all, and I think when you add in top 15 goal assists as well, this guy does everything. He gets hard ball, he works hard around the ground, he tackles hard, he does everything. Every available stat he's polling in. And for me, I think that really, when you're looking at a Brownlow winner, that's someone that really will catch the eye of all umpires on the ground. Got him polling 3 votes in round 5, 7, 9, 13, 16 and 18. And I think he'll take St Kilda's one out with 25. And I think he'll run with Neil close. We know Neil was a runaway favourite last year, and there were some games that you were surprised he didn't poll him. So if that happens again, even though Neil's added the goals and that kind of brings him out, I wouldn't be surprised to see Steele be there or thereabouts with Petrarca. Sydney's Luke Parker, for me, a no-brainer, 16 votes. And top 10 total clearances, top 10 tackles. The guy is as hard as a cat's head. Real good year as well, 22.2 touches. Had some standouts along the way, round 17 at Kazali Stadium in the loss, 33 touches, 3 marks, 2 goals. They're the kind of games that win you 3 votes in a loss. And I think that's what Parker's got. He's like the Cripper in that aspect. He can really stand out when you get beat, and that holds you in good stead. I think he'll have 16. I've got him polling 3 votes, incidentally, in 12, 15 and 17 rounds. And I think he'll take it out with 16. Over to West Coast now. My pre-season pick, Tim Kelly to win the Brownlow. I think he'll take out West Coast count with 17. I think he'll poll really well as well. Mid-year he was really good, and then towards the back end he hit some straps. But even though it hasn't been his prolific season, top 20 total tackles, top 20 total clearances, top 5 goal assists, the guy is a beast in every sense of the word. Been a bit loose because he does lead the charge in total turnovers, but I think it was an adjustment period for him, and I do think he'll definitely be a smoky for the Brownlow next year with another year in the system, in West Coast system. It is a lot different to how Geelong play. But 17 votes. He's had some good games as well. Round 17, you know, he's 6 marks, 4 tackles, a goal and 30 touches against the Saints. He's had some real good games. And for me, I reckon he'll take out that with 17. But he won't threaten the trouble the scorers in the main one. And then we finish up with the doggies. And, Jack McRae, the accumulator getter himself. I think he'll take it out from the Bont with 19 votes. top 1 total handballs per game, you know, top 3 disposals per game, top 7 total inside 50s, top 10 effective disposals. This guy is a phenomenal footballer, and you can't look past him. I mean, that round 11 40 touches game, 4 marks, 4 tackles and a goal is ridiculous in shortened quarters. The guy is a supreme footballer, and I think he'll poll 3 votes, you know, round 3, round 8, round 16. And I think for me as well, like, he'll definitely be there or thereabouts. I've got him 19 votes, could be 20, you just don't know, but I think he'll definitely be there or thereabouts. They're my Brownlow picks. Obviously they're saying that the top 3 will be Lockie Neal, and that is no surprise. I think he will take it out and win his first Charlie. And then we've got, obviously, second place, we've got Jack Steele. Christian Pataka makes up the top 3. They're my selections. Let me know who you guys and girls are going with. I'd love to know. Brownlow's my favourite time. I'm a big fan. Let me know in the comments who's your pick, who's your top 3, who's winning your club's Brownlow camp. And I'll see you next time. Pom out.